Welcome to my channel, Ken here. Today let's take a look at the Acrylic B50 amplifier. Let's go! So I have the Acrylic B50 amplifier for passive speakers, and as you can see, it has an external power supply. It's 24 volts and 4.16 amps. It can pull some power. It's rated at 25 watts at 8 ohms and 50 watts at 4 ohms. So it has the smallest 5-way binding posts I've seen, but they work. I use bananas on this. And then it has a bunch of inputs, and on the front panel you have a display here that will tell you what's going on, and it'll also indicate as you're turning up and down the volume, an on-off switch, and a multifunction knob here that it has a press mode where you can get into the different modes, and you have a volume control. And then it has 2 antennas for the Bluetooth connectivity, and the antenna greatly increases the range of this thing. And on the back here we have a ground connection, a couple of phones here for a record player in, so it has a RIA correction unit in it. It has a line in, it has a subwoofer out, and it has an optical in, and I believe it goes up to 48 kilohertz, this optical in. And then it has an ARC HDMI input for sound, if you want to use as an extra for a home theater or something like that. And then you have a USB in here and a DAC in here. Now, I didn't try every single input here. What I did try was the Bluetooth connectivity and the USB on a USB stick. A USB stick with sound files on, waves, uncompressed, and MPEG-3s and various sample rates. So what I did was I hooked it up to, I have some Dynaudio, a pair of Dynaudio Mirage, which are full range speakers, and they are rated at about 91 dB per watt and a steady 4 ohm impedance. So it had no problems driving it. I also tried it on a pair of Dynaudio Geminis, which is essentially the same thing, 4 ohm impedance, pretty flat through the frequency range, a little less efficient, maybe 90, go down to about, I would say, 45 hertz or something like that. So a little roll off in the bass, as they are kind of mid-field monitors. I've left the purchase link below if you should be interested in buying this. It's at no cost to you, and it'll help my channel. Now, it has all these bells and whistles for how to use it. It has a remote control here, and the remote control takes AA's, but it did not supply AA's in the box. And it also comes, as you can see here, an app for the iPhone. And the app has a couple of different functionalities that you can only do on the app, like EQ. And the funny thing is, the easiest way for me to pair this thing is by using this TX pair button here on the remote. When you hold that in, point it at the unit, it starts flashing really fast, waiting for some kind of Bluetooth to connect to it. But I tried the Bluetooth on an iPad, my computer, a phone, iPhone, and it all connected with no issues. And the funny thing about that is you can connect 2 Bluetooth devices at the same time. I don't think I've ever seen that before, so that was interesting. So let's say you have your computer connected at the same time as your iPhone, and you can switch back and forth between those two. You may ask yourself why I would review something like this on my channel. Well, they asked me to review this, and they sent it. My opinion about this is mine alone. They have no influence about what I'm going to say about this thing. So all in all the these bells and whistles that I tried work without a hitch. The only thing is about that USB stick is you have no way of seeing what's on the USB. So you're gonna find the track that you want to listen to by forwarding the tracks. And if you have a lot on that USB stick, it can be a little tedious. But I think the main function of this is the Bluetooth anyway. And I find it can be very useful in the studio with hooking up a secondary pair of monitors, passive monitors in another room. And you can just stream out to those if you want to check a mix, or you want to play something for somebody that's sitting in another room in a lounge, for example, or in you know, they're cooking in the kitchen, and you can just have a pair of speakers there and you can send it out to them, and having as a secondary listening option. This is all built as Class D, obviously, because look how small it is, and it's 50 watts, and it's pretty light, and the power supply is external, so I can't imagine it being anything but Class D. All that said, how does it sound? Well, I don't think you should demand too much out of such a inexpensive and relatively compact design as this one. I think it's not for people that work in the studio or musicians. I don't think it's a critical listening device. So let's just get that off the table, because that's not really relevant. I think it can be useful to just stream stuff from somewhere into it in another room or something like that, because as far as the sound quality is concerned, it is full frequency, but it's not the most detailed thing I've heard, obviously, and the bass is not the most detailed or the top end either. But I didn't expect that when I listened to it. I just wanted to see how it sounds, and it's relatively neutral. It's pleasant to the ear. It doesn't have the best dynamics, obviously, for such a cheap device. And you know, working in a studio, listening to monitors that cost maybe 100 times more, and comparing it to that, it's just not a fair comparison. But I think it's a very utilitarian thing with all these bells and whistles, and it can be very useful. So if you need something quick for your passive speakers, I think you can use this. If you don't expect to have high resolution and want to listen to high-end studio monitor kind of quality, which is unrealistic. So all in all, I think it's a decent device. Thanks for watching. Please like, share, and subscribe. Leave a comment below, and until next time, take care.